It's officially off-season time for the first time in our Pittsburgh Pirates franchise rebuild. Our first chance to really make the team feel like our own here, and I'm very excited for it. And the first place I want to do that is with our coaching staff. We're missing a manager and a hitting coach, but taking a look at what we have kind of in place with this team, I don't like anybody, particularly this hitting coach. Like, why would you even have a coach on the team if the only thing he does is make you worse? Like, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. That's the easiest fire of my life. And Tarek Brock isn't much better. I mean, you're getting some blocking, which only helps catchers, and you're losing a bunch for everybody else. That's almost as bad as our pitching coach. And then we're losing this guy's still a net -1 here. You're just kind of rearranging some ratings. That's pretty terrible. And then even Terry Davis here, another guy, like, one of the things you're increasing is blocking, which is fine, but I'm not trading clutch for blocking. We are cleaning house here. I want some coaches that actually increase ratings that will help us play better. I think we underperformed last year. We were ranked, the 22nd team in the league, but we're tied for the second worst record in all of baseball. And I'm starting to think maybe the coaching staff had something to do with it. I'm liking the look of Jose Rivera to take over this manager role. We lose one stamina on our pitchers, but plate vision, power, and stealing, I think our strength is our pitchers. So if we could take a tiny bit away from our pitchers and it's one stamina to help improve our offense a decent bit, I think that's a trade I'm willing to make. Now, Jose Rivera does want some decent cash here, but thinking like a 3-year at 6 per. Not going to be full interest here, so there's no guarantee we get a Jose Rivera, but I'm hoping he decides to come on over to Pittsburgh. We've got offers now on all the open spots. We'll see who decides to come here. Hopefully we can get kind of our plan A's at most of these spots. I think we got some good offers on the table, but we'll have to see. In terms of our exclusive free agents here, before they hit free agency, there's only really one player that I think interests me at all, and that is Caleb Ferguson, who pitched pretty well for us last year. I don't think he's asking for, an insane amount of money. 1 year, 3.6. If he comes back on this, I'll be happy. If not, I don't think it's going to be a massive blow, but everybody else, I want to let hit the market and let them see what they can get. So far, so good on the coaching front. Nobody has rejected so far. We're about to hit free agency. We're the only offer left on the last guy available. We're spending a bit of money on our coaching staff, which will limit our budget a little bit, but I think it's worth the extra money to actually have a coaching staff that will help our team be better, not actively make it worse like that previous staff was. During the season, when I looked at potentially giving Skenes an extension, he was looking for $28 million a year on a 9-year deal, and now that we're in the offseason, it's up to 33. So by delaying that decision, we've already cost ourselves $5 million, and any further delays is just going to continue to cost us. So I think it's in the team's best interest to try and give Paul Skenes a bag right now and hope that it is something that he'll accept, because the longer we wait, I mean, look at that ideal salary for years 5+. That's $43.4 million. So yeah, we'll be costing ourselves a lot of money, particularly this year when we could have him for less than $1 million. Arbitration, he'd start to make some decent money for sure. But if we can be saving ourselves $10 million plus potentially in those free agent years to keep him around into his 30s, I think we got to do it. Maybe we can make it an 8-year instead. It only saves us like $1 million. I'm kind of digging the 9-year deal, if I'm being honest. This deal is a $300 million deal. We are paying some serious cabbage to try and keep Paul Skenes around. We'll see if he even accepts it. I surely hope he does, because right now, talked about it a little bit, last episode, but our contracts are not big at all. This is before arbitration, so some arbitration contracts will get in between these two, Hayes and Horwitz here. But there's only 3 players that we are paying over $1 million right now. And so this is, I think, the time to extend him. It'll be by far the largest contract in MLB history, but with the 2-year starts that Paul Skenes has had, I think it's time to pull the trigger on the first really big contract in team history. This is not the kind of player that you want to mess around with and end up losing a few years down the road. In terms of long contracts, though, I think that's the only one where I'm planning on really offering this year. You could argue that we should try and get O'Neal Cruz locked up for the long term, but I don't think he played quite well enough for me to try and do that this year. I know by not doing it, we're costing ourselves money, but I'm trying to save those contracts for people who've truly earned it, not try and project that they will earn it. And I want a little bit more from O'Neal Cruz. I want a season over 800 OPS out of him at least before I'm willing to go out ahead and pay it. At this point, we're deep enough into his team control that we're not even going to, if we were to make an offer, get all that much of a discount. Don't worry, we'll get one for sure. He's asking for $13 million on a 3-year deal, and then it gets significantly higher after that. So there is some sort of discount, but it's just not good enough for me to be interested in it. And apart from O'Neal Cruz, there's not even much in the way of tempting offers. Jared Jones would have been the other one, but I've already just re-upped his contract for this season. Now it's time to take a look at the free agent market here. And the first thing you want to do is set your positional needs. That will increase players' interest in you, which is one of the new mechanics in free agency this year. Is you have to, much like with your draft picks, get their interest over 50. Meeting your team needs is a good way to get that done. I also want to look for a lefty pitcher at some point here. In terms of our second need, what am I looking for in a position player? I don't think we got really anybody that got on base consistently. So I'm looking for somebody that can maybe hit for some contacts, I think. These are the positional and team needs that I'll be locking it in here to start free agency. Let's first take a look at the shortstop market here, and there are 6 shortstops in the top 150 free agents here. Bo Bichette here at the top, who developed a ton of contact versus right-handed pitching this year. I think that makes him pretty interesting. Of these players, if you just look quickly at the top here, he by far had the best offensive season of anybody last year. He is the top free agent available at the shortstop position. He does not play any other position. He's not the strongest defender. Has that 99 clutch, which you really like. I don't know if the top shortstop available on the market is going to be something that we can really play around with. I think he might be asking for too much. He wants a 5-year, $17 million a year contract. If you go down to the second best shortstop, the ask goes all the way down to 2 years and less than $12 million a year. And don't get me wrong, there's certainly a drop off in production that you're taking with Willie Castro, but I feel like playing with the Pirates in our limited budget, going a little bit more of that bargain bin free agent shopping is more going to be our style, at least early on here. So I'm thinking that Garrett Hampson looks pretty good for what I'm going for here, as does Willie Castro. And despite the fact that Hampson would not cost us one of our outside asset slots we talked about from the beginning of the series, and Willie Castro would, I think I'm willing to spend one of those slots, especially because it would just be a 2-year experimental deal If it doesn't work out, we can open that slot back up in a couple of seasons. And I don't imagine in the next 2 years we'll be using all 5 of our slots that quickly. So Willie Castro is my first free agent target here in this offseason. As for right field, there is Kyle Tucker available, who would obviously be an insanely awesome addition, but not looking to play in that level of market, $35 million a year. I'm looking kind of around that $10 million a year range, and I think Ramon Laureano is maybe the best among them. He's got a really good arm out there in that right field, and he can hit lefties pretty well. He's not that great against righties, but honestly, I'm pretty underwhelmed with the right field market here, and with us losing McCutchen. This is a spot that we just need somebody to hold down the fort while Buford Kingman develops a little bit. Of course, the player that we took last year as a first baseman and moved over to right field. I think Ramon Laureano might be that kind of caliber of player that we're looking to spend some money on this offseason. As for a first baseman that can play against lefty lineups and honestly maybe even DH for us against righties, I'm liking Josh Bell as an option here. And so we're going all position players. I think that's just the nature of the status of our roster. Our pitchers are in a better spot right now, and I'm trying to find some ways to improve our offense a little bit in the short term while we allow our position players to develop, the ones that we've gotten, and also, of course, continue to add to that group as well. We need some vets here to hold down the fort, and I think these 3 right here are what we're going to start with this season. Looks like the Reds are trying to get Josh Naylor on the board, but I think he's above the kind of caliber that we're looking for, and so we're going to let the Reds pursue him and see if he gets added to the crop of division rivals or if they lose out to somebody else. All right, so we have everybody above 50% interest here. Willie Castro's at 58. It looks like he's got some people pursuing him. I'm going to go up to $12 million a year. This will put his signing bonus up to 60, or signing interest, excuse me, not his bonus. So I like that. And then Josh Bell here, I think he's pretty cheap, and so we'll offer him $4 million for 2 years. And then Ramon Laureano, we might wait. I'm not sure if we'll be able to afford multiple double-digit players in this period, and so I'm going to send these 2 for now. We've got a decision upcoming for Willie Castro. Not quite there for Kim. Josh Bell also making a decision here. Neither player accepting our initial offer. We've got a division signing here. The Reds adding a very nice player to their bullpen for the upcoming season. Framber Valdez to the Diamondbacks as well. They add to their pitching. Paul Skenes has signed his contract. Will be on the team through 2034. So we've officially gotten that contract on the books. And if we go to free agency here, we still have this money to spend, which means I think we can now offer all 3 of these guys. I'll go up a little bit higher. So up till we get that 67. So it'll be 12.2 here for him on 2 years. Ramon Laureano, I think we'll go up to 11 here. And then Josh Bell, I'm still going to stick with this 4 here. See if a little bit of passage of time can get him to consider signing up with the squad. All right, Willie Castro. Hey, we've got our first free agent targets onto the team. Willie Castro, welcome to Pittsburgh. 2 years at $12.2 million per year. The 31st ranked free agent on the market. And he is coming to our squad. Before going any further here on this off-season video, I have to take a minute and give a shout out to Von Wright Gaming, TJ Rec, and Michael Soliao. I apologize if I pronounced that name incorrectly, but I have to give you three a shout out for becoming members here on the YouTube channel. I really do appreciate your support, and I hope to continue to make it worth your while with these behind the scenes kind of deep dives into the scouting process year by year on the Pirates franchise, as well as some additional members only content that I hope to continue to release throughout the seasons here in MLB the Show, as well as throughout the year back to the off season. Suarez here at age 30 gets a 5-year contract to go to the Rangers. Laureano is up next, and he also signs on with the squad. So our first two free agent positions are up, and I didn't offer Paul DeJong. I don't know what happened here. Was that meant to be Josh Bell? Let's go ahead and look. It looks like maybe that was a little bit of a glitch here. I think we're gonna let if we go here to first baseman, yeah, Josh Bell is off the market, so that they just glitched it and showed me somebody else. But Josh Bell decided to go elsewhere, will not be joining the team, and I think that puts me in the direction of Wilmer Flores here, one of the slowest players in baseball, but he can hit, which is what we need him to do more than anything else. I was also hoping to get an improvement over Heaney as kind of our, shoe-in lefty pitcher in the rotation. The only guy rated higher than him on the market is John Means, or at least that was within our price range, and that 28 pitcher clutch just makes me not really interested at all. 28 pitcher clutch asking for $17 million a year. Not going to work for me, but instead, Andrew Heaney, if he wants to come back for a little under 13 mil, I'd be down for that. Heaney making his decision, and he is back. Shiver me timbers. Heaney gets another year as our token left-handed pitcher in the rotation in Pittsburgh. So we've been contacted by an agent to potentially add Pavin Smith here. I'm not going to offer him a contract right away, but if he's interested, we can go ahead and take a look at a potential addition here to the outfield. What is he looking for? He's looking for 5.6 per year. We're getting pretty low here on funds. We have 12.61 remaining. I'm not going to offer him a contract yet because I'm more interested in seeing if we can get Flores. Now, with his age, I'm more interested in like a 1 year, $5 million contract. Take off the year. I don't even think we need to go this side. We can offer him a 4.75. There we go. Not that the $250,000 is going to do too much here to make a difference. Zach Gallen, one of the bigger free agents dominoes to fall here, although he's not quite as rated as he has been in previous games, but a 6-year, $184 million deal to go to LA. And now we have a decision of our own here. Wilmer Flores will be there to maybe hit some DH, but definitely hit against lefties for us at that first base spot, which I think is a really solid signing and probably the last starting level signing I'm trying to make here in free agency. And maybe the biggest thing of the offseason now is these winter meetings. We get the Blue Jays signing Kyle Tucker out of nowhere to a 7-year, $259 million deal. That's a massive deal, and he is out of the division. But it is time to go to the draft lottery. They're giving us the number 2 odds, so pretty much tied for first with the White Sox and the Nationals. We can't let the Nationals get the number 1 overall pick in back-to-back years. They already have enough good young position players on the roster. Let's Let's give it to somebody else for a change here. We drop to 3. The Marlins rise up to number 1. White Sox at 2. Pirates at 3. The Nationals drop to 5. The Angels are the other big riser alongside the Marlins in this class. We're picking at 3 in 2026. The Rule 5 draft is today as well. We get some players off the board before we have a chance at them. And Christian Scott would have been somebody I was probably going to be interested in, so it sucks to see him go off the board before I have a chance. I think if we're going to go anywhere here, it'll be adding a relief pitcher, trying to get somebody else in the 70s here. I don't think there's anybody like interesting that's young with potential. There was that one guy that's already been drafted, but you got to go down to 63 overall to get another player that has B potential. So do we go for a guy like this that has a better chance maybe to be a long-term player in the bullpen, or do we go for somebody that will actually help us next year? Like I think TJ Antone here was looking pretty good. Low walks per 9, but not as low as a guy like Stalmont here. 48 you can probably work with, and the rest of his stuff looks pretty good. But he's 32 years old, so this is more of a one-year solution. We're early on in the franchise. Let's take a swing, shall we, on a guy like Luis Medina. See if he can develop a bit and become a long-term player for the team. I don't imagine we'll be taking... we can't even take anybody else. Our 40-man roster is now full. And that's pretty much it for the player acquisition part of the offseason. We still need to see where Vladio will go, so I'll give you an update there, and then that will pretty much wrap up the video. Ryan Helsley to the Phillies on a 4-year, $61 million deal. And Vladimir Guerrero, the biggest domino yet to fall, goes 6 years, $150 million. That's honestly, I think, a great value for Minnesota. They had a 26-year-old who's 91 overall to a lineup that has some pretty good players on it already. So Minnesota may be looking to make a run here in the near future. Dylan Cease gets just under $29 million a year for 4 years to go to Baltimore at age 30. After arbitration, we actually end up paying $469 million over the cap. And so I think we have to find somebody to get rid of here. Somebody that like a team might actually want that's making like $780. We can get them for like a $60 million player. Probably just like a swap for the bullpen would be what I think we'll be searching for here, but got to get back to cap compliant here. All right, here we have it. Technically our first trade here of the franchise, and it's going to be a budget swap with the Blue Jays. So there you have it. We're back to being under our budget. We have $250,000 left. Remember when I said that $250,000 wouldn't be important? That's all we have left in budget. So we spent all of our budget here. Just goes to show you that we don't have a lot of room for big contracts here on this team. So it'll be interesting to see as we continue to rebuild the Pirates what we can do to add talent throughout. But this $33 million contract with Paul Skenes is taking up a big portion of our budget. It's absolutely worth it. I'm not having any semblance of buyer's remorse by any means. I'm just saying it's going to be challenging to get a roster built up around him. So ultimately here in our first offseason, we acquired our first outside asset, putting our counter at 1 of 5 that we are allowed to have here on the team. And we filled some of our biggest holes where we just didn't have anybody or just we didn't have. Whoa, Josh Bell did sign with us? Well, I wish I would have known that. I wouldn't have even offered Wilmer Flores. Curveball here. Well, we're going to have an extra DH, I guess. At least for Wilmer Flores, it was just a one-year deal. I like Josh Bell more, so I'm likely to use him more. Although, I mean, for defensive purposes, Wilmer Flores is quite a bit better than Josh Bell. So we'll see how that goes. I ended up signing one more player than I thought I did, but that's pretty much what we did here in the offseason. I think we're still not really going to be all that good next year. You kind of go through the roster, and it kind of looks really similar to last year, maybe a little bit better, but still a ways to go here, I think, in our Pirates franchise, which is good. If it only took 1 year to rebuild this team, I don't think it'd be a very good team to choose inside the game. So the Pirates franchise rebuild continues with season 2 coming up here in the next episode. I thought about potentially live streaming the spring training, but I don't think we have enough young guys potentially making debuts to do it this year. But if you'd like to see spring training in a live stream, let me know. You'll have to let me know pretty soon after this episode releases, because before too long I'll have to start recording the next episode, which will be me either simming through spring training or maybe getting a couple clips from it. I haven't decided yet. But that's all I've got here for the off season. Hope you're excited for next season in Pittsburgh Pirates franchise. I certainly am. I'll see you soon. Go Bucks.